you're probably going to view this as a completely different event. But the ultimate thing that I want to bring out is the hypocrisy in our country. That the left suddenly condemns violence, that suddenly they don't like violent protest. Suddenly they're upset about a government building being vandalized and broken into. Like, where were you in 2020, guys? I'm glad to know that you guys are upset at people destroying public property and occupying public property illegally and also violently, rioting / giving some sort of an insurrection. It's so interesting to me that the people who were silent in 2020 while Antifa and BLM destroyed America are suddenly like, this is the worst thing that's happened in America. So to them, you're hypocrites, you're losers, and you need a reality check. That's true. But of course, there's also people who would just think, man, this is not a right thing, that are in the middle, on the left or right. They're just going, this is not how to do it. And that's up to you to decide. But if you're on the right wing, from talking to a lot of people were really proud of what happened. They think it was a good thing what they did. And they think that this was the right course of action. And I think what's important, though, as we bring this together, those same people, to their fault, too, is saying, they're always condemning violent riots and insurrection against police and the government in 2020, and then all of a sudden it's cool for the right wing to do it in 2021. It is a very interesting hypocrisy that I'm seeing here from both sides in their response to this event. But if you're like me and the rest of America and you actually take moments to process things before having your ultimate conclusions of if this was actually a good thing or a bad thing, of what was the worst parts, the best parts of this day. I mean, if you're like me and you want to look at it and deconstruct it, well, then luckily for you, 2 p.m. Central on Friday, we will have time to think and discuss. But I want you to take this away as a conclusion. No matter what people think this may or may not have achieved, our country is at the brink of civil war. I believe this is revolution in process. People think that revolutions are always just good things. I do believe this is not a civil war because I believe it's not a fight against the people fighting one another. They're fighting against their government. But in many ways, I do consider this to be somewhat of a soft act of war. You can criticize me for that. I believe that this was the people telling the government, be afraid of us. We can hurt you. If we want to, we can take away your power. Whether that's, something that you like or you don't, I don't think any of us should be happy that we're at a point in our country where something like this would even happen. I want better for America. I'm not here to say and condemn anybody or to do anything because I don't have all my facts together yet, and I'm not understanding exactly fully the reasoning behind everything that was done, and I will do my fair investigations. But don't be happy that we're here in this country. If you disagree or agree, let's all be upset that things like this are taking place in our country. And who's letting that happen, and why did we get here? They need to be held accountable. And how we do that, well, time will tell. But please, please remember the cost. And for all of you who celebrate tonight, I want to end with what I said earlier. Someone's dead. And if it was worth it to you with someone dying, that's up to you. But I always want you to know that there is a real cost to these events, and that's what I always don't. I go to these things, and people get so hyped in the moment that they don't realize that you being hyped is now a young woman's dead because you got hyped. And, again, if that was okay for you, then that's your prerogative. But, ultimately speaking, it's like, man, a lot of people are badly injured, hurt, including myself. I'm not badly injured. I'm just in a lot of pain. I can't even eat. My mouth it burns. My own saliva hurts my throat. It's very painful. But I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to not have any very severe injuries. And I'm glad that the rest of you here can just appreciate a channel like this where we do our best always to bring a balanced approach to what turned out to be one of the most insane days of my life. America, we love you, we know you're hurting, and we want to continue to support you. But guys, if you love your country, please support it in a way that is reasonable at all times. Anyway, thank you so much again for watching the first ever live stream I've done, emergency broadcast, because you guys needed to hear what happened as the news is lying. I'm Elijah Schaefer, and I'm the host of the show Slightly Offensive. Please feel free to support the show directly, again, by going to blazetv.com/ Slightly Offensive, or you can do /Elijah. It's the same thing. You get $10 off a year subscription. These trips, to put it into perspective, like how much they cost. Like I don't even fly first class, guys. I don't fly first class, but this trip, each ticket was over $1,000 domestic, hotels, it all adds up. And because you guys support real news and you guys are supporting us, you make more trips like this possible, and I cannot thank you enough. Anyway, please also subscribe by hitting that button below, liking and sharing this video with as many people as possible who need to know the truth. America, have a great rest of the week. If you can, please stay safe, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out. This is not a joke, nor is this even a normal episode of Slightly Offensive. This is actually one of the most serious moments that I'm coming to you, not only as somebody in politics, but most importantly, as a fellow American. I want to let you know that the Great Purge is here. As we speak right now, tens of thousands, and I mean possibly it looks like more like hundreds of thousands of conservatives, right wings, and dissenters are being depersoned online and in reality. Their entire social media profiles are permanently being deleted without explanation, including bank accounts are being taken offline. Pictures, connections, ways of communication with anyone they love are going to be forever lost, and it's only going to get worse. There is nowhere left to hide for those of us who are resisting the authoritarian iron fist of big tech technocracy, the establishment media, and corrupt politicians. They are now all aligned together and will stop at nothing to crush anyone who stands in their way. The push to transform this country into a restricted speech, endlessly locked down, communist adjacent society is closer than ever. It is not at our doorstep. It is sitting in our living rooms. Yes, even you and me, we are able to be susceptible to this madness. Why? Because of what? The Capitol siege. Well, what happened in DC a couple days ago has finally opened up the doors for the radical left to dishonestly scapegoat the entire MAGA movement as terrorists. They want to remove our identities as Americans, most importantly as citizens, forever cementing Trump's legacy and eventually our legacies in history as the people behind the potential sedition of our country. Whether it's true or not, which it is not true, and most of us did not take part in doing anything illegal, including myself, they will not stop until everyone they hate, which is most of you watching this program, are completely removed from the conversation. And to the audience of this show, to the members, to the Slightly Offensive backers, I want you to get this through your head. This is very serious. We are being attacked on every front right now, both me personally as an individual in my life, and also professionally, my crew as a show, and this network as a whole. This is one of the most difficult times in my career, though I will say this, I am not afraid. I do not fear evil. I am overwhelmed by evil. Sometimes it can make me feel sick, but I know that I'm not alone in this fight. To the extent to which they have come after us is appalling, including my producer, myself, my family immediately, meaning my wife, my father, and yes, even my past church and colleagues of work. It is unnecessary and extremely corrupt to the extent to which they are coming for us, and I will say this damn straight, I will not be intimidated. I do not know, though, to be honest with you guys, how much longer we will be on this platform specifically, as we have been completely demonetized here, and they have restricted and taken away more rights on this channel, even though we have not and will not violate their guidelines, to which we have been very honest. You are now able to be removed from a platform online for things which you did not do on that platform. What are my crimes? Faithfully reporting the news for the citizens of the United States. So faithfully, in fact, that all of my footage is not only being licensed and being used by large networks like the New York Times to build an accurate timeline, ABC News, NBC, 60 Minutes, Fox News, amongst my favorite outlet, Blaze TV, but my work is being trusted even to look and identify people who were part of the siege. But you know who it's not good enough for? It's not good enough for big tech companies, which have taken things a step further. Instagram and Facebook have just
let me know and informed me that I have now officially been suspended and permanently banned from using their platforms for reporting on a breaking news event, while of course I am a credentialed reporter with congressional credentials. On top of that, I'm going to let you know this, it is not getting any better. And as we get into this catastrophe and this reality of what we are facing today in this moment, all of us, every single one of us, I'm going to tell you how bad and how serious the crackdown is, how bad it will be, and most importantly, where we're headed as a country by breaking down the reality of what happened that day in great detail. This will be a long episode. It will be extensive. And if you don't want to watch it, then you're not ready for this. We are taking things a step further. I need to remind you guys that I am not guaranteed a platform on any of these networks, which is why we have built blazetv.com/slightly offensive. So let's jump into some of the stuff that happened that day, and we're going to just get into the stories. I want to remind you that a lot of this footage was captured by my producer, Savannah Hernandez, who's an amazing journalist who did not enter the building. I'd like to clarify. I did take the risk of entering the building after many did. And I will say that the police, for the most part, were totally fine with me entering. And I have a congressional press credential, and I was letting them know, hey, I'm just trying to document inside. I did not assault anybody or break anything to get in. I just documented what was happening because it needed to be shown to the public. We do not live in an authoritarian state. I do not believe that what happens in these buildings should be held from the public. I want full transparency. And so let's get into this. People were saying that we're going to watch a video. We're going to put it on the screen right now. We can keep the volume down. This is from Julio Rosas, an incredible journalist from Town Hall, who who was this? Was this AP? I think this was AP. I think I remember this as Associated Press. Have very expensive cameras, and people were attacking them, the press, and pulling down their stuff and pushing it over. Now, of course, the immediate response is these are all Antifa. And I'm sorry to say this, but these are probably not Antifa. And everyone goes, well, why would they attack the press? I get attacked by Trump supporters sometimes, guys. Maybe you don't know that. I do. For the most part, I get mostly peaceful love from Trump supporters. And I know it's hard to hear this, but for the most part, the left wing treats me pretty fairly as well. There are extreme people. I would say that I have a 99% greater chance, I should say 199% greater chance of getting physically assaulted at a left-wing event, but I get hassled a lot by people at these right-wing events because I have my press credentials, I have cameras, and they do harass and antagonize me. And that's fair. A lot of the right wing doesn't like the press either. That's at least a universal thing the left and the right wing can agree on, is that they don't like the press. And so people saying, is pouring water on their gear, people saying, oh, this could not be Trump supporters attacking this. This is not how Trump supporters behave. Well, that's true. It's not how 99.9% of Trump supporters behave. But now you're getting the narratives during the BLM riots, right? Where they're going, well, that's not how 99.9% of the people there behaved. This is genuinely showing you how mad people are at the media. And I'll say this, the Associated Press has been very dishonest about a lot of these things. I think this is terrible. I don't think this is right. And I saw a lot of this stuff, guys. And it's uncomfortable for me to say. And there's these loyalists who will watch this and just go, you're a traitor. You're saying that this is, it's like, dude, open your eyes. For like 9 months, I've been saying to the left wing, open your damn eyes and please watch the footage and stop denying video evidence. Please stop denying video evidence. Just acknowledge it. And everyone has been behind me until now, been like, yeah, Elijah's so honest. He's showing the left. And the left has been condemning me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, this riot broke out. Somewhat of an insurrection. To many, to many in the front lines, it seemed like a revolution to them. And, you know, and then all of a sudden I put my footage out and now I'm, you know, you can't trust my takes. Fine. If that's you, live in delusion, because I will continue to believe my eyes. And if you want to say that one of these people were Antifa, I'll give you that. Sure. Maybe one of them was Antifa. I don't know, but it's statistically impossible that all these people were. There was too many of them, and I know the faces of a lot of people in DC Antifa, and also I will tell you, they are actually afraid of COVID, and a lot of these people were unmasked. Antifa is never unmasked, and they also are deeply afraid of COVID. A lot of them have drug addictions, sexual transmitted diseases, and have very bad immune systems due to poor health and not getting outside a lot, and that's an actual true statement. And so that's not what we're seeing here. And if you look at these people, a lot of these are Trump supporters. And to be honest, you know, look at that guy with the beard. That's not Antifa. It's just like Lynn Wood and all these people saying this stuff. It's like, I'm sorry, they're not being honest with you guys. They're not being truthful. They're telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear.
Let's go! Fuck this shit! We tell you dude, you back the fuck off! You back off! Move! That's our house! That's our house! We pay your bills! We pay for this bitch we put on! For some bullshit! Hold my backpack. Hold my backpack. Hold on, I can get around. Quick question, I'm with the press. I mean, here, but what is going to happen? I mean, limitations here on federal property. I'm not.
Everyone keeps saying, look at these guys. They have backwards hats on. They look new. First of all, to that regard, everybody was buying new hats. There's a hat sales team on every corner. It's like the biggest gimmick of the trick. And it's like, what about that guy in the black with the hat? Sure, maybe he's Antifa. Okay. Guess who was also in all black? This guy. A lot of people wear the all black to not be easily identified. But these guys do not look like Antifa. They look like your average conservative people. And maybe they were extremists. Maybe they were people who came in there to instigate. I don't have confirmation of that. But it's just getting to the point where it's just absolutely ridiculous that walking up and punching police officers, what the hell were you thinking? Yeah, we'll have breaking. Oh, well, breaking news. We're just finding out right now that Twitter just permanently suspended General Michael Flynn, who was recently pardoned by Donald Trump. This is amidst the massive surge or purge that we are seeing before our very eyes. I don't know again how long I'll be on there. Please support us at blazetv.com/slightly-offensive for real news and real reporting, even when it's uncomfortable for our political agendas. on the left and the right, it's important that we stay neutral enough to get the communication across. Again, I always remind you guys, I am not an ideologue, and I'm not here to somehow convince anyone to think a certain way. I just want to present to you information, and I want you to think for yourselves. This is vital, though I'm not a fence sitter. That is true. So I want to show video 4. We can put this on the screen. You might have seen this as well. I want to show you guys, like, there was a lot of people agitating and fighting the police, like literally physically assaulting the police. And I will be honest, from my take, I didn't see the police instigate the violence from my angles. I did see some angles where it did look like police instigated the violence, but from the low amount of officers that were there, it's interesting that you see how very few of them are actually able to hold people back, and they're not prepared. They don't have helmets. And this is what happens when you like defund the police, or you ask people to have low police presences. They aren't prepared to withhold people. And so the same Congress people and the same political party, the Democrats, who have been actively complaining about there's too much police presence in our country and we need to not have so many police interactions, are now upset that there were no police available to stop these people, which does make me wonder. I'm going to tell you this. It does make me wonder. Was this a setup? People got in too easily, and there were not enough officers. The federal courthouse promoting the insurrection. People thought I was a Fed, and I thought my life was in danger at one point. They even tried to beat up a photographer from AP Congress, which I don't believe will happen at all. And I'm praying to God it won't happen. But, you know, I still don't regret filming breaking news. And I did not intentionally do anything to cause problems. It's a very hard job, guys. It's a very hard job. And to see members attacking me, it's sick. So this is what I walked into when I walked into her offices right here. I mean, yeah, they keep saying, oh, so you broke into the office? You were alone? Can I play that one more time? Yeah. I don't know if you can count with me the amount of people that were there. I was trying not to film. Have you seen any filming like this before, where people are trying not to film me? Like when people were not happy with people filming there. This is something common that you've seen me kind of do this tactic to not get jumped, because of Philly. I didn't want to get jumped. By the way, I was dressed in all black with federal credentials on. People kept thinking I was a Fed. So, you know, so much for people saying I was supporting and you know, promoting the insurrection. People thought I was a Fed, and I thought my life was in danger at one point. They even tried to beat up a photographer from AP, and I actually helped him. That's actually a true story, and he was really grateful. Because, guys, I don't like a lot of people in the media, but I just don't want to beat the snot out of them. And that's just the truth. I'd rather fight them with fact here. But I have this image here. I said not only that, but one of the staffers' computers in her office was left unlocked, leading to concerns of security compromise. I did not see anyone accessing these computers directly, but I took this image because it shows how quickly people fled. Now, people ask me, this image was put up, and like I mentioned earlier about the revolutionaries or whatever. If you're mad about my wording, that's fine. I don't care if you're mad about my wording. I wasn't supporting anybody and doing anything. I'm just doing my damn job. But also, why did I delete the picture? To be honest, it was taken down. The Blaze people wanted it taken down because they thought there might be sensitive information on it. I didn't realize anyone could like really read the screen from this far off. Like that's why eventually I took a picture up like closer up. I didn't end up posting it. I forgot after people got so freaked out. It turns out there was information on the screen, which I did not read. And then I looked at the image and I looked and there was no personal information, no private information. And this was not Nancy Pelosi's computer. This was just like a secretary or something. And my intention was never to expose or to document anybody or anything. And I did not violate the penal codes of accessing secure documents. I simply wanted to show people how serious this was, how fast people evacuated. And if I get in trouble for that, then I don't have any faith in the legal system or in the law. Because if you can't even be a credentialed reporter following breaking news, reporting for the government, for the people, for the world, just all around providing information so people can understand what happened, you notice something and you, in the spur of the moment, react to it. And then someone says, please take it down. It gets taken down and you re-upload it with it being censored. It's like, you know, then we're all going to be in the gulags. It's like, if I go to jail, we're all going to jail. I wrote that there and I showed people, look, this is the group that was, I mean, there was a huge crowd entering, right? And look at the gas look at how thick that gas is that pushed us into the room. I mean, it wasn't just like running into some office. It's like, I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck. and I need to breathe because I have severe asthma. But you know, I don't regret. I'm not going to apologize. I'm never going to be intimidated. I did my job. I did a damn good job. And for that, no apologies. Well, Savannah Hernandez was putting her life on the line. Amazing journalist, reporter, and producer. She was outside and she had captured, because I was following a side group that had broken through a side channel through the rafters of the inauguration fencing. But she was out there. She climbed rafters, it looks like, and was recording just such a crazy thing. She's like how tall are you, Savannah? She's a 5'4". How much do you weigh? She's like 120 pound, 5'4", little mixed Asian Hispanic girl. And very good looking girl. All the guys, she has her whole Sims, slightly offensive Sims that love her. And she's just a total badass. She's like, she has no riot gear either. I at least had a flak jacket. She didn't. And she climbs this and she's just like watching these people get overwhelmed, try not to get trampled. Like, look at this. You're going to tell me that that's Antifa? Like, no. And you see like officers getting knocked to the ground. It's not Antifa. Like, it's just not, right? I mean, these are self-described patriots, and people say, why do I call them patriots? It's like, I don't know. What else do you want me to call them? I don't know. Like, what? People who support the president, like, how do you even know they voted for the president? What, they're libertarians? Like, it's like you can get so into semantics. Like, that guy's from Canada. What if he supports Justin Trudeau? You know, it's like, there's a Japanese flag, a Korean flag. It's like, those are allegiance to Hiromoto. It's like, I don't know who these people are. I just say patriots, revolutionaries, because I figured that's what's happening when people are chanting 1776 will rise again. Does anyone not know what that actually means? And everyone keeps saying there's no tear gas. I don't know what you call those flashbangs and that tear gas. I climbed that middle rafter there. I was recording from that one for a while. I have a lot of footage there until it started feeling like it was going to fall apart, actually. But she really went and covered what was happening outside. Look at, they just got overran. It is absolutely, look at this. Like, the police are just like helping each other, just like, dude, what do we do? And I haven't seen that kind of confusion since like Kenosha, Dallas. There's been very few times where the police have just given up. And this was a moment where the police actually just gave up. And like, look at, they're not even running. So, you know, they don't think their life's in danger, right? They're not running. Like, they don't think they're going to die. That's the key thing. In Kenosha, they ran. In Dallas, they ran. In Minneapolis, they fled for their lives. So they didn't think the Trump supporters were going to kill them, but they definitely knew they couldn't hold the Capitol building. And I think at that point, they probably thought maybe this is a revolution too. And maybe we don't want to get beheaded or something. Dude, if you were there and you saw what was happening, like, my gosh, stop getting into semantics after the fact. And, you know, and again, I understand people that like get mad at people's take like mine. Like, this is just the media trying to make people look bad. I'm just showing you footage and telling you what we saw. And if you can take my take on BLM for 9 months and suddenly think I've switched the honesty because it's a right-wing protest or riot, then you're out of your mind and you have too much allegiance to a party and not the truth. And that's on you. And that's okay. And I love you anyway, just like I love people who don't understand what I do all the time. Well, we have that video. We also have this thing. Kamala Harris said that, you know, this stuff was not happening to the Trump supporters. There was not an equal spread of tear gas and stuff used in flashbangs. I don't know what you call those. Someone DM'd me showing me wounds. Yeah, I can hear that sound. I can hear some of the pops. Let's just listen in for a second. Yeah, and so, you know, the amount of chemical agents that were used were some of the most I've experienced in my entire life, which is why some of the violence we're not putting on the screen. I actually have you have like what? Trump flag, an America First, Nick Fuentes flag, an F Biden, a Trump, the Don't Tread on Me. You have the Trump train. I mean, guys, this is not Antifa. I'm just saying, this is Arizona. Oh yeah, how do you know that's a Trump supporter? That's an Arizona Native American looking for separatism. Like, I don't know who these people are. I'm just assuming by the fact that they're all wearing Trump gear and shouting revolution and stuff that for some reason that's what they want. Damn me for taking people at their word. I'm such an evil man, right? Delete me offline. Delete me. That's what they want to do. And it's just like, why? I don't get that. It's so sad that they will delete a journalist for just reporting what he's seeing. But that barrier right there, the inaugural steps, that's where they broke through, and that's how they got in. And Sav's just trying to stay out of the chemicals. And I'm sure the reason why she's there is because at the front lines, there was so much pepper spray and so much mace from both the Trump supporters and the police. It was toxic. Journalist BG on the scene was left screaming on the ground after he received so many direct hits to the face that another journalist, who I won't mention, who doesn't want to be associated with this, had to lead him to safety. I got maced so badly in the face that I couldn't see for like maybe 5 to 7 minutes. And I had to use a town hall journalist to navigate and get me out. It was so bad, guys. I was so sick. I threw up 7 times that day. I was convulsing. I had rashes and hives. My face got burned. Sav was sick. We ate nothing all day. It burned out the inside of my mouth. So how dare you say that there wasn't an equal amount of force used? There was, but there just wasn't enough officers, is actually the case. And unfortunately, it shows you how fragile the government really is. I want to bring up this next clip. So this is what people say these were Antifa. So this is another episode, clip from Savannah. Savannah reported that, they were tasing the hands of the police and stealing the shields from them. A lot of people were carrying shields in the building. It's actually true. A lot of people were attacking the cops. And people say that these were all Antifa. I don't know. I look at it. These are angry people who have been pushed into a place where they feel like they have nothing else to lose, and they feel like they are trying to fight for their country back. And again, whether you condone or condemn that, I just think these are very angry and pissed off people, and I don't think that it's fair to blame it all on left-wing violence. But I will say that I saw some of these attacks on police, and if you don't believe me, you go, I don't see them attacking police. Well, I showed you clips earlier. They tried to take an officer captive, actually. He was terrified. Let's go to this clip 8. This officer, they brought him in, and according to the reporter, Savannah's on the ground. Some even debated on whether some were calling to kill him, actually. Now, if those were agitators or extremists, I think you have to be an extremist to advocate for killing a law enforcement officer on federal property. That is a terrible thing to do. It's disgusting, and I don't condone that in any way. But they took him captive and they brought him in a mob, and he's probably suffocating. And so they pulled him out of that tunnel where they were tasing the hands. They pulled him out from his lines. Okay, they tased his hands, Savannah's saying, pulled his shield out, and then removed him out of the tunnel. And then they tried to take him captive, and then they decided to let him out. That's to say that most people wanted to let him go, but this is very serious. And, I salute every journalist who was there that day. I am very disappointed in both some members of Congress, like Eric Swalwell. I'm disappointed in a lot of people who are mad at those of us who are documenting this. But most importantly, I am so upset that, in the midst of all this, that nobody, it seems like, on the left and the right has really cared to listen to the journalists who were there. And it makes me sad because I thought at least Trump supporters have been pretty open and honest to accept the versions of the events that were happening on the ground from real journalists who were documenting them, not grifters online who are making up conspiracy theories. And I guess I was wrong in this case, because a lot of people have come against me on the right wing, and this has made me an enemy now of both sides. It's made me a political refugee in the fact that my reporting now cannot be accepted on any partisan level. It looks like my enemies are numerous, they are many, and the support for myself has waned in terms of people trusting, because what I do conflicts with narratives, and I haven't done anything to lose people's trust. But there's a new wave of people who are coming and supporting until the very end. I'm glad that the CEO, Tyler Cardin of Blaze Media, has let me know they will not fire me. They will not let me go, no matter what charges are brought against me, no matter what sedition or acts are brought to try to take me down by the media, by investigative reporters. Glenn has told me he will stand by me. And for that, even if you hate people or you don't like them, they are sticking by my side. And many great people, including Dave Rubin, have taken a stance for me. And I'm so grateful to all those who have defended me, including the post-millennial and Andy No and other journalists who realize that this targeting, once they target one, they target all. I stand with you guys. I stand by you guys. My final thoughts are this. This event could have been avoided. Not by Donald Trump calling people on the 6th, but by politicians from the very beginning, from the initial riots of George Floyd in Minneapolis and in Dallas and across the states around the world. If they had condemned the violence unanimously, if leaders have come together and our country united and said, we are against racism, we are against brutality, We are also against all types of violence, including gang violence, interracial violence, and we want to unite together to protect our people, our cities, our law enforcement, and uphold the Constitution. This day would not have happened. But no, political violence was allowed to seed. People, politicians, large corporations acted as if the very violence that people like myself were contracting on camera every single day was almost like a fairy tale. And they allowed the race relations to deteriorate and fester. They continued to persecute people who just wanted a voice and were crying out for some sort of equal distribution of justice. This allowed to fester with the destruction of personal property, the endless lockdowns and shutdowns, and police enforcing these laws, and the right wing becoming sick of law enforcement destroying their lives, complicit with Democrats and totalitarians who were destroying their lives. I believe that many who came on the 6th felt like an election who was stolen from them, that they believe in their own words, and that they believe was rigged. As many I spoke to that day had that opinion, that they snapped and that they saw an opportunity. I believe that there are fishy things, which I cannot prove, just like you could say, well, there are some fishy agitators. It's fair to say that there are some very fishy things, including why the police force was so small, why there was no larger barrier, why while Congress and every member of the sitting government almost entirely was there, that police could not keep the ground secure. That is, was it allowed to happen? Why were officers taking selfies with people? Why did they let them in the building? I don't know. It's just very fishy. But it happened. And for every politician and person who's condemning this, but didn't condemn the last 9 months of violence, you're a joke. You're a hypocrite, and you're not serious. But you have power, and that power they will use to destroy every one of us from the public spotlight in an attempt to smear and erase and deperson all those who disagree. Did Ted Cruz, did Josh Hawley, did even President Trump actually cause the violence that day? No. Especially someone like myself, a journalist, or a representative like Ted Cruz who's representing his people. Are we responsible? Absolutely not. There are people responsible, and they will be held accountable. I'm not a statist. I don't love the fact that this had to happen, but I think that ultimately what we can all come across is that any of the violence that happened in the last year, yes, including the Capitol building siege, nobody should be happy that our country is here. Nobody should be happy these things are happening. Even if people think they're necessary, remember, people think BLM riots are necessary too. I will say this. This was a total tragedy in the fact that our country is broken, that people feel that they need to do this. And this shows me that we are getting to a breaking point that I believe will not only get worse because I say so, but because their response to this has been to continue to enact the very things that I believe pushed people to act this way. I believe this is headed in a darker direction. Joe Biden actually was right. This will be a very dark winter. 2020 was a prelude for what 2021 will be. Please know that my heart is with you. No matter what happens to this channel, we will never stop providing the truth at blazetv.com/slightly-offensive. Thank you for enjoying this extended report. For anything that is here, I will just say this closure. I do never condone, promote, or endorse any violence. Any event I attend while professionally on the clock, I am neither directly involved with, nor am I helping out with. Even in Portland, I was standing at the line defending. I was with Antifa, hiding behind a shield, holding like the front line against the Department of Homeland Security, because I had to hold a shield to protect myself from all the rubber bullets and cans of pepper spray and tear gas that was being shot at us. It's like, was I defending Antifa then? If I was defending Antifa then maybe you have to get a shot at me for doing something wrong now. Or maybe I'm just always really good at doing my job, and for that I will never apologize. Thank you to Savannah, thank you to The Blaze, thank you to all of you guys who never stop supporting the show, even when the truth hurts, is uncomfortable.
I drive out demons in the name of Jesus. I drive out evil in the name of the Lord. I drive out Satan in the name of Jesus. I'm telling Satan through the blood of Christ to leave me alone. So get ready. the light.